Morning, everyone. So my name's Pete Burnap. I'm Professor of Data Science and Cybersecurity at Cardiff University. I am going to give a really brief sort of introduction, really. It's a whistle-stop tour of things that are happening around AI and data in Wales, just to give you a flavour, everyone a flavour of what's happening. So I call it AI and data because I think, essentially the focus on artificial intelligence in recent years has really been building on capacity building around what was previously called big data, large data sets, and the intention to use those with algorithms and statistics, but just generally to also to look at trends that also help in economic and social problems. So for example, if you look at all the work that's gone on around COVID response, I think it would be unfair to rule all that out alongside more advanced machine learning and AI techniques. So I've put them all under one umbrella because I think really they're all sort of interlinked. I'll caveat it by saying I'm sure that I've missed something. There's a lot going on in Wales. I think one of the key messages is the diversity of activity across sectors, across regions. It's really hard to capture it all, but I've tried my best to pull together what I think best represents, some of the more deep and collaborative activity that would be, I suppose, really focused on international collaboration. Okay, so to make a start, just to give you a really high-level overview, this slide came from my colleague, Professor Roger Whittaker, who's leading a large program at the moment with the intention of linking up some of the activity across Wales around R&D called the Data Nation Accelerator. There's some studies that have sort of been built around that have shown that the potential for the economic impact of AI and data in Wales, and looking at close to 10% of GDP, which is huge and really important actually for Wales, that was traditionally built on more traditional industry such as mining and manufacturing, which is now moving forward into more advanced digital sort of sectors. So there are some particularly unique assets, and I'll cover these anyway in my talk. But ultimately, Wales has sort of really good control over its health data. So really leading, I suppose, internationally with health and social care. Large amounts of expertise in R&D translation, working very closely with industry. That's led to a strong impact track record. So we don't just do research in Wales for the sake of doing it. It's industry driven and driven into industry. Really sort of try to push the bar with innovation and skills. As I said, particularly looking to reskill and bring people from other non-traditional digital sectors into the digital world. And really see how we can sort of try and expand on that. You can see there's a strong track record of over 130 million in research income, and as I say, that's really been translated into industry and innovation, and 51 million in key research infrastructure, which I'll cover in some of this talk, which is really super important for particularly for data. You can't do it without the infrastructure. So we're built in Wales with world-class expertise, really big industry, and looking to link those things together. So I think that's the key for today, is to give you an overview of some of that stuff, if you like, and give you a flavour of what we could do together. So it's basically been broken up into categories, I guess, to give some of the high-level themes and topics and trends. I'll start with the NHS Wales Informatics Service. So Wales has a population of about 3 million, and although it's part of the UK, has autonomy over its health service, which gives it control over its health data, and is really quite innovative with its data. And the NWIS, the Welsh Informatics Service, is really trying to give better access to that data, which is really super important for researchers and innovators, obviously for better health outcomes. Sale Data Bank is based at Swansea, is one of the biggest medical databases going. It's a big anonymized person-based data database for access to data for researchers, to do health well-being. Was really prominent in the COVID response over the last 18 months or so, collecting a lot of the data that was pulled in from various apps around the UK. The Wales Gene Park, based around the Cardiff Uni School of Medicine, is really looking to support and promote genetic and genomic research access to data. This supports the Welsh Government's precision medicine strategy. So precision medicine really trying to tailor individual health responses to individuals. Obviously, all people are slightly different, and trying to tailor a medical response and a treatment to those individuals is really quite important. So having access to this sort of data is really, really important. Similar for the Genomics Partnership Wales, again, looking to share that sort of genomic data to improve health, well-being, prosperity of future generations, etc. And also HDR UK, which is a big investment, again, around making health data available to researchers to improve innovation. So these are all sort of interlinked and, working together to really maximize the access to data. So to go with that then is a whole bunch of infrastructure. So I'll start with data science at Swansea. So as I said, Sales is one of the largest health data banks in the UK. Big investments gone in there, pioneering discoveries around health. So looking at the top right here, you've got the big MRI scanner. So Cardiff University has the Brain Imaging Research Centre, which has got top-end neuroimaging devices, all generating data to understand the brain, the underlying causes of neurological, psychiatric conditions. Climb Big Data is a large-scale project, again, involving Cardiff and Swansea, delivering cutting-edge bioinformatics platform to support, again, academic research groups doing research at scale. And on the bottom right there, you've got the Vet Hub, which is Aberystwyth based, and working with industry to look at new innovative products and promoting animal and human health by developing diagnostics, vaccines, etc. And this is part of the wider Aber Innovation Programme, which is a very large multi-million-pound program looking at this sort of sector. So as you can see, this is really sort of stretching across Wales, and really trying to, again, all of these things are sort of interlinked to collaborate for the good of the Welsh society and beyond. So economic and social data is a big one for Wales. As I say, we've got very large access to social data in Wales. The Office for National Statistics, which is basically the UK's data set of all national statistics, which is very, very good, world leading really in terms of the amount of data and the diversity of data they collect about the UK population. So the Data Science Campus, which is the sort of innovation arm, I guess, for data and AI for the ONS, is actually based in Newport. And they are all about doing data science for public good. So as I said, they got access to full UK population statistics. They've actually got strategic partnerships with local universities, including Cardiff, on this, and working together to sort of innovate to see what they can do with other new forms of data, as well as the traditional statistics that they collect. ADR UK, again, this is a big UK investment, provides access to public sector data. So where people engage with schools, NHS, the courts, benefit systems, etc. This is led out of Swansea Medical School and also Cardiff University's Wizard. So Wizard then also stretched the analysis into data analysis for economics, sociology, geography, and political science. So real, breadth across the whole sort of spectrum of possible areas you can look at from a societal and economic perspective. Looking at the top right, so the Cardiff University Social Science Park is opening next year, which is a huge investment in developing innovative solutions to societal problems through collaboration. The intention to have sort of key stakeholders take up offices on site. Similarly, big investment gone into Legal Innovation Lab in Wales at Swansea, where there's sort of leading work there on prediction of hate, of extremism, terror, etc. That links in nicely with the work at Hate Lab at Cardiff Uni, which is again looking at online hate and how you can sort of detect and manage that using natural language processing and machine learning around that. And the Crime and Security Research Institute, also at Cardiff University, focuses on data-led policing, open source intelligence, etc. So again, real broad breadth of and depth in some areas of activity looking at society. Moving on to, as I say, a more traditional area, sort of re-energized, I suppose, and rethought. Manufacturing, which is typically a big area for Wales, is really moving forward to the cutting edge. So we've got the compound semiconductor applications catapult, which is really building top-end chips that basically they're enabling future communications. All sorts of communications devices have these chips in them, which obviously generate huge amounts of data about devices, activities in the wild. The Smart Energy Efficiency Centre is at Bangor in North Wales, which is looking at sustainability of energy supply and utilisation, demand modelling. You can see in the top right there, there's a number of these across Wales, smart houses that are rigged and built proactively to detect and understand the uses of electricity. The AMRI are looking at sort of simulation and modelling of high performance materials, again looking at sustainability and better use of materials for the purposes of I suppose a more sustainable future. And the Astute Institute is a very large investment looking to stimulate transformational growth in advanced technologies, essentially increasing competitiveness, future-proofing the sector in the nation. And this is really building on the strengths of the Future Manufacturing Research Institute at Swansea and the Centre for AI, Robotics and Human Machine Systems at Cardiff. Again, both Cardiff, Swansea strong in manufacturing traditionally, research and sort of really pushing this manufacturing and net zero agenda. Moving on to sort of cyber and intelligence, I think, which is the best way to capture this. So essentially, we have a national cybersecurity centre in the UK, and Cardiff University is recognised as one of their academic centres of excellence in cybersecurity research. And one of the key focuses there is what's called cybersecurity analytics, which is the use of AI to detect and respond to cyber attacks. And Airbus, obviously a big French but global manufacturing company, have their only centre of excellence in cybersecurity analytics based in Wales, which has involved, again, research and translation into the business. Thales, also another big French multinational, have their National Digital Exploitation Centre in Ebbw Vale. Their focus really, again, is on energy systems and future connected vehicles, using a lot of data, a lot of AI to look at prediction of energy systems and also, of course, security of energy systems. Sidetrack at Swansea, a big focus there on cyber threat intelligence, particularly focusing on legal aspects, extremism, terrorism, etc. World leading in that space. That sits within the computational foundry at Swansea. Again, big investment again in data, humans at the heart of digital innovation. A lot of multidisciplinary work going on. Generation of devices and services for good. You'll hear a talk about that from Alan Dix later, who's focusing on improved automation and collaborative work between robots and people in the case of agriculture. Supercomputing in Wales really enables a lot of this large-scale intelligence analytics to happen. It's a very, very large computing infrastructure. We have the Data Innovation Research Institute and Accelerator at Cardiff University that's really trying to drive a lot of this activity into SMEs. And that is the basis for the Data Nation Accelerator, which is intended to do that at a bit more scale, as I said earlier, led by my colleague, Professor Roger Whittaker. And in Bangor, we have the Digital Signal Processing Unit, which is, again, looking at digital comms, 5G networks and ecosystems. I can see cameras coming on and off, and I'm conscious it's 1:15, so I've only got 2 more slides left. Just to touch on skills, so there is a lot of skills. It's very hard to do justice to all the data and AI activity and skills in Wales. I'm just going to pick up on a couple of, I suppose, the larger scale activities. Again, I may have missed some. There is the AI Centre for Doctoral Training in AI, Machine Learning and Advanced Computing, which effectively joins up Aberystwyth, Bangor, Cardiff, Swansea and Supercomputing Wales to look at machine learning and AI analytics at scale. And the EPSRC Centre for Doctoral Training in Human Interaction and Collaborations, again, at Swansea, looking at basically AI for good. Large numbers of students, 55 plus, looking at that sort of area. And at Cardiff, there's the Doctoral Training Partnership Hub in Cybersecurity Analytics, which is, again, looking at AI for cybersecurity with 20 plus PhD students working on that. And the Data Science Academy at Cardiff is really looking at hands-on approaches to teaching AI, looking at the UK government's focus for industry-ready masters, so that people are coming off masters not just with the theoretical skills, but also with the hands-on ability to create and build machine learning and data analytics model. Last slide, because I think this is important, is the enterprise and scale startup. So between Tramshed Tech, Alacrity Foundation, and MSpark in the north of Wales, this is, again, there are a lot more than this, but this is just to give you a flavour of some of the strengths and depths in open spaces, collaboration spaces, incubation support, business development support across the breadth and length of Wales. The innovation activity is happening essentially in most of the Welsh universities, and these guys, along with others, are leading the enterprise and startup. You're going to hear from Amplify later. I don't need to tell you too much about them because they will, but they've really gone from strength to strength and are really a flagship company from Wales. So I'll leave them to talk about themselves, and that is me. So just in summary, basically there is a lot going on. There are a lot of conversations happening. There are a lot of detailed work happening. Some are overlapping, and the door is open. Essentially, Wales is open for business. So, you've got your B2B sessions this afternoon, and do get in touch. Thank you very much.